Alright, Northwoods Cardboard Gang, today we are going to be looking at some underrated Pokemon cards from the Sword and Shield era, primarily alternate arts. That's right, we're going to take a look down the list of alternate arts and look at some underrated ones in today's current market right after this. Alright guys, I'm Andy with Northwoods CCG, and today we're going to be taking a look at 5 Sword and Shield alternate arts that I think has some very good potential. Once again, this is my opinion, this is not financial advice, but overall I think there are some really good opportunities in these particular cards, and they've been a little bit slower gains compared to the chase cards in these particular sets. Of course, that's what normally happens. Chase cards take precedence. Some of these cards will sit a long period of time with nobody really noticing them, and then all of a sudden the switch clicks and then they start to take off. So these are some maybe a little bit forgotten. One of them really isn't, but most of them are kind of forgotten and kind of hidden in these sets. And I think that there are some really good opportunities and potentials for these cards as alternate arts to do extremely well futuristically. And I think that there is a reason that people will be chasing or going after these as collectors in the future. So once again, we're going to go ahead and go into the first one, which is going to be this one. Alright guys, first one on the list is going to be this. This is going to be the Galarian Articuno. That's right, the Galarian Moltres, huge hit. This one, kind of quiet. Personally, I like the Articuno. It's a very nice artwork overall. It is a legendary bird. It brings back that Hidden Fates vibe, goes all the way back to the base set with the original legendary birds. Once again, I think it's a very good artwork, and to me, it's not getting justice for it being a legendary bird and for the artwork itself. Overall, it's a very nice card, a very nice layout. And overall, I think that there's some great potential for this card to have some really good time in the future. Now, overall, right now, it's sitting at about $40 for a purchase of one of these alternate arts. And once again, I think it's a great purchase at that price. Overall, I think that there could be some really great gains on this card in the near future. I think that there's going to be a turning point at some point here in the Pokemon TCG where people are going to start going after these forgotten alternate arts. I'm going to say it, forgotten alternate arts inside of the sets. When you get the chase cards such as a Galarian Moltres in this particular set, people stopped watching the other cards that were inside of here. And there's another one on this list that's also from the set, from Chilling Reign. Chilling Reign, once again, had a ton of alternate art opportunities inside of them. And some of these, I just don't think people could keep up with all of them, and this Articuno is a perfect example of it. Beautiful artwork overall. It's well done. It's a great collection piece. I think it looks fantastic. I have a couple of these myself, and I personally would not give them away right now. I think that there are some great opportunities in the future for these cards to do well, and now's the time. Probably jump on them. As you can see, at a 3-month low currently with this particular card. I think that's going to flatline right around here, and I think we're going to see this start to move up again and kind of gain some traction as we move a little bit further into the Pokemon TCG through Scarlet and Violet with all of the SARs and all that are coming forward with these particular sets. And of course, Pokemon 151. Pokemon 151 is going to bring a bunch of new people potentially back into this hobby, and Galarian Articuno is one of the original 151. So once again, another one of those cards that may pop and jump out when people start looking at this as a potential. So once again, this is a fantastic card overall. If you do not have this in your collection or you do not have this as an investment, definitely one of those cards that I would not be afraid to purchase at this point in time. Moving on to the next one, which is going to be this one. Alright, next one I got on the list is going to be another Psychic Pokemon, which is going to be Celebi V. That's right, Celebi V comes from Fusion Strike. Once again, a huge set, a lot inside of this set, but I love the artwork of this particular card again. I think it's fantastically done. I think that it looks very good, a great Celebi card. Overall, it's just kind of been forgotten, and it's one of those cards that's been kind of on the back burner. I think a lot of people haven't been paying attention to it. Of course, in that set, the Gengar VMAX is taking precedence, the Espeon VMAX is taking precedence, and these V cards are kind of just not being paid attention when it comes down to the sets. And that's because the VMAXs were the kings at this point in time in the harder pull rates, thus they became the chase cards versus these Vs. And let's be honest, guys, this is a beautiful card. I think a lot of people in this group would definitely agree that these would be a great collection piece futuristically. And currently, we did see a little bit of a spike on this particular card. I mean, it was running about $30, and if you're lucky, you can still find them around that price. And as you can see in the chart next to me, they were almost up to about $42 at one point. We're seeing a little bit of a retraction on that card. Once again, I don't think people are currently looking at these for sales, but I think futuristically, I'm looking at the collection aspect of these, and these cards are going to become a collection piece to a lot of collectors in the future. And it may not be within the next year, it may be a 2-3 years down the road. But overall, as I'm watching this price start to drop on the Celebi again, now might be another opportunity to jump in on these before maybe the spike occurs and it does not come back from it and it continues to move up. So once again, I see some really good potential. Celebi, another one of those really big fan favorite cards at the end of the day, are characters in the Pokemon TCG, and I think that there's some really good opportunities for this card to expand and go places here in the future. So once again, definitely a great opportunity potentially coming to jump in on this particular card and get in on it when it goes down just a little bit more. Because I got a feeling if it goes up again, it's probably not going to drop down. It's going to be more of a stair step, if anything. Might see a little bit of retraction. I think it's going to go up again. Might see a little bit of retraction. It's going to go up again. So you're going to continually see that with this particular card. But I think overall as an investment, great opportunity here at this particular card. Moving on to the next one, which is going to be this one. All right, guys, as you can see, I told you there would be another one from Chilling Reign on this list, and of course, this Galarian Rapidash V. Once again, I think this is a very slept-on card. Overall, the price of this is around that $40 to $45 range currently right now, and to me, it's really underrated when it comes down to this particular card. Overall, the artwork is fantastic. It fits a ton of different genres when it comes down to this particular card, not just in Pokemon, but outside of Pokemon also. There's a lot of people with the My Little Pony movement, the unicorn movement, girls that like these kind of items, and there's actually collection opportunities outside of the Pokemon TCG with this particular card, which is why I do believe it is very, very underrated currently in today's market. Overall, you can see it's gone up, and it's been holding up fairly well from its all-time low in the last 3 months. Overall, I think that this one will do really well, and there will be some more growth on this one coming up shortly. Like I said, once again, we're trying to get through some of these alternate art Vs and these V cards, especially in those first few sets of the Pokemon. When Pokemon went to alternate arts, they did VMAXs. VMAXs became the top chase cards. The Vs a lot of times got forgotten in these particular sets, and that's why I think we're seeing some of these prices kind of undervalued when it comes down to these particular artworks. Once again, check it out, guys. This is a beautiful artwork overall. I mean, granted, it's a unicorn, it's a Galarian Rapidash, but overall, I think the artwork's done really well, and I think that they'll have great opportunities, not just in the Pokemon TCG, but other genres if you were to advertise it out to them for potential collections in the future. So once again, definitely one of those cards I think will do extremely well futuristically. It looks great. We're seeing some really good pricing. If you wanted to sit here and wait a little bit, it might come down just a little bit, as we're seeing with some of these alternate arts right now. In Sword and Shield, we're seeing that kind of bouncing effect because people are moving their focus from Sword and Shield to Team Up, which may give you the opportunity to get these cards in the Sword and Shield while they're over in Team Up, and then they'll migrate back here in the next year or two, and you'll be in position to be able to capitalize on that migration of these individuals going from one to the other, kind of being behind one generation in the Pokemon TCG. So, once again, beautiful card, beautiful artwork. Overall, definitely a lot of different collection opportunities in this particular card, and I don't think that the price range on this justifies what the card actually could be potentially. So once again, definitely one of those cards would be a great jump in for someone who's trying to get into some nice alternate arts now. Next card is going to be this one. All right, guys, this is the next one I got on here is going to be this Beedrill V, and this one came from Astral Radiance. Once again, kind of a forgotten set. Overall, has not performed as well as the other sets around it, and I think that that's one of the reasons that this particular card has not been done justice when it comes down to its overall pricing. As you can see, we've had a spike to almost over $30, and then it's kind of been dropping back down to around that $22, $23 range. Over the last year, that's pretty much where it's been, kind of in that range periods. It kind of keeps bouncing between that whole range between $30 and $20. So realistically, it hasn't had a lot of changes over the last year, but overall, I do think it's a strong alternate art. Once again, Beedrill, a 151 character, opportunity to have some people be able to see this, more people coming back with 151, potentially coming in and looking at these particular cards. Once again, I am kind of looking at the fact that we might be seeing a new crop of individuals coming in from the OG groups and different advertisement factors when it comes down to Pokemon into the 151, and we're going to see this kind of spread out. And when you're looking at Pokemon card investments, definitely be looking at those OG Pokemon, even in modern sets. People are going to come in for 151 and then going to spread out. As we're seeing now with a lot of people in the Pokemon TCG, we're seeing them spread to different areas of the hobby, which is awesome. It's awesome to see them going back to Sun and Moon, and we're seeing them go back to XY. We're seeing them stay in Sword and Shield and kind of move around and checking out new items and new collection pieces. And this one is one of those sets that I think will look really good. Overall, the artwork, once again, fantastic artwork of this particular card. This Pokemon in general, the scene with all the Beedrills working together in the Field of Flowers, to me was done extremely well, and it really encompasses that actual movement of actual anime into the Pokemon TCG, actually into the card game, and it's really well done at the end of the day on this particular card. So once again, overall, I think this card is really underrated. I think that a lot of these cards in this V category, once again, that aren't chase cards, are very underrated. And this is another particular example of that particular reasoning, is because, look at it, guys. It's a fantastic card. It's going to look good in people's collections. Overall, when it comes down to alternate art collections, people are also going to want this, and it's a standout card. I think it looks really good with the actual artwork. Personally, people just haven't seen it, and when people see it, I think it'll start to spike. So, with that being said, we're going to move on to the next one. Alright guys, the next one here is going to be, as it says above, a bonus. That's right, I'm going to throw in a different card, which is going to be this Starmie V. Now this is not an alternate art. This is a trainer gallery card, and personally, I think this card has been doing fantastic. I've personally been purchasing these cards already, and I think that this one will actually do extremely well. Once again, you got Missy, you got Starmie. Once again, brings back those original OG Pokemon with the OG trainers. Perfectly done. Nice trainer gallery card. Overall, really well done, and I think that this one futuristically will continue to do extremely well. Once again, looking at about a $36 investment right now to be able to purchase into this card. If you wanted to, once again, this is where time and patience may be a good thing. Just be patient on it. We might see that little bit of a tick down, but overall in the last year, we've actually seen some really good ticks up on this particular card. If I could expand that graph out to 1 year, I maybe should have done that before I made the slide, but with it being 3 months, you can see it come down a little bit coming into it and then gone back up. We've kind of seen that little up step on this particular card, like I like to see with a lot of different cards. If you can get that stepping effect where the steps up, maybe goes down a little bit and then steps up a little higher, and it continues to do that, that's really good market growth, and that means that there's people continually looking at this card and people continually trying to move this card. That makes it a little bit more have a little bit more liquidity to it, which means it's going to be a good investment overall, because it gives you the opportunity to be able to sell it, be able to move it, or be able to purchase these on these kind of slumps that we're continuing to see on this particular card. Once again, this is a beautiful artwork. Overall, I think it's going to go to a lot of people. Once again, Pokemon 151 coming out, and you've also got Misty in it, which is, of course, one of the original trainers from the Pokemon TCG. Once again, it's got a lot of different options inside of it, so I think this one will do well in the future. So check that one out if you're looking for a bonus on this list. Now, we're going to move on to the final card. Alright guys, we're getting into the final card, and just as always, as a reminder, be sure that you made it this far in the video, that you hit that subscribe, you hit that notify, and last but not least, hit that like button. It helps me out a ton to keep this channel moving and keep things moving along. Hopefully this is a good list for you. Let me know in the comments below what some underrated cards that you believe are out in the market, or are some of these cards already overrated in your opinion, and I'd like to hear why. I always like having good discussion with you guys on why things are underrated or overrated, so definitely put that down below. If you've got some other ones, I'm always happy to hear, and I know the people who watch this video would be very excited to hear some more potential underrated cards right now in the Pokemon TCG. So without further ado, I'm going to hit into the last one. Alright guys, the last one on this list, of course, in true fashion for myself, is going to be the most expensive card on this list, which is going to be the Aerodactyl V. Once again, this card had a big explosion with PokeRev and everything that happened with that particular card, so we saw this card shoot up really high right out of the gates, and we've seen a continual and gradual fall of this card down to its current price of around that $100. You can buy these currently at about $99 to $100. Right now, if you see on the TCG player list, it says $107. That's the market value of it, but currently sales are around that $100. So either A, that's going to correct, or B, we're going to see some sales starting to move up, because sometimes TCG player seems to be really good at predicting like a little bit in the future for what they're seeing for sales and how they're pulling forward. So once again, Aerodactyl V to me is a very well done card. It's got a lot of different Pokemon underneath. It's done with the Aerodactyl above everything. I think it's done extremely well. Overall, it's the second best card out of Lost Origins, and I think that this card will continue to grow and be better as we move forward into time. I think that this card is right now getting kind of that slump because of how many people purchased it. The pull rates are a little bit higher than, of course, the Giratina V, and it's driving that pricing down. That and the current market itself is also kind of driving alternate arts down in general, as we've seen a lot of these on the list are kind of on that downward slump, and because of the price, number one, because the hype and everything is kind of moving over to tag teams. We're seeing all of the alternate arts and all these bigger chase cards and more expensive cards currently in Sword and Shield kind of moving over to tag teams, and I think they're selling some of these out to be able to go after the next big thing. And once again, futuristically, I look at that going, okay, these people are over there in tag teams and in Sun and Moon now. They will start to migrate back again, you know, maybe a year or 2, 3 years in the future. Once again, none of these investments are really designed to be a short-term gain, but if you look at this for the long-term game, is Aerodactyl going to be a really sought-after card in the future? I think it will. I think it's done extremely well. I think it's got some really good potential futuristically for this particular card. You might be able to wait it out and see if maybe it goes down to around that $80 range like we've been seeing with the Charizard from Shining Fates. I think that there's an opportunity we could see this one go down potentially to around that $80, $85 range. But if it does, I would definitely be picking them up at that point because I do think that that's going to be pretty close to the bottom of where it's going to go. Currently, I have picked up a couple of these myself. I just purchased 2 of these the other day for $98 a piece. Not afraid to do that. I think overall for a long-term investment, I think there's some great opportunities on this. And I definitely want to look at the grading opportunity on this particular card because, once again, I think that there's going to be a good potential there also. So we'll see what they look like when they come in to see if there is that potential. And if there is, I'll let you know, and we'll probably be doing a video on PSA submission on that particular card. So once again, guys, thanks for listening. If you have made it this far in the video, once again, as a reminder, be sure you hit that subscribe. Sure you hit that notify when you know, so you know when we're doing new videos like this. And last but not least, hit that like button, help the video, help the algorithm, and keep this thing moving along. Once again, we've been doing fantastic on the growth. Just as a reminder here at the end, I forgot to put at the beginning, is we are doing a Unified Minds box break, and it will be in the description below. So if you're interested in a Unified Minds box break, we'll be doing that here on the channel coming up next month. We do have a couple people have purchased in packs, but there's still plenty to go. So if you guys are interested in jumping into that, definitely go ahead, hit the link, jump in. Let's have some fun. Let's open up some Unified Minds and go after a couple tag team cards. I believe Unified Mind boxes used to have 2 tag teams, but maybe 1 for sure. But we'll see. I'll do some research on that and get back to make sure that we know for sure. I've seen it both ways, so it might be hit or miss depending on the box. So other than that, guys, thanks for watching. If you do like this kind of content, as always, check out the 2 videos I will put up at the end of the video for you. And we will see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.